This is the Toyota Fortuner, not to be confused with Bib Fortuner or O Fortuner, and it's built to go off-road. But how will it handle a week in the urban jungle? Let's find out. I'm Alex Dalrymple, and this is Four Wheels and a Seat, a channel for people for whom cars are just that, four wheels and a seat. I'll help you out with an easy-to-understand, jargon-free review. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Give me a like if you enjoy it. Oh, and don't forget the notification bell as well. This second generation Fortuner has been on our roads now for about 9 years. It had a minor facelift a few years ago, giving it some sleeker headlights here and driving lights down the bottom there, and a big Toyota badge, a big aggressive grille. The overall look still is quite reminiscent of the Land Cruiser. Coming around to the side here, you can see just how high up this car rides. It is a mid-size SUV, although, I mean, it is pretty big. This mid-spec GXL model gets 17-inch alloy wheels, roof rails up the top, bit of a step to step on, really to help you get in and out of the car more easily. Another interesting design feature is the floating roof. You can't see it that clearly because of this car's grey colour, but they've actually deliberately blacked out the B, C and D pillars here to give the appearance that the roof floats. Interesting factoid there. Rear light clusters look good and again were substantially redesigned in the facelift. Got the big Fortuner there, big Toyota badge. No tow bar on this particular car, but brake towing capacity comes in at 3,100 kilos. No powered tailgate either, and storage in the back comes in at 200 litres with all 3 rows of seats up. It expands to about 700 or so with the 3rd row of seats down. Knock them all down and you get over 1,000 litres of space. Under the bonnet, and all Fortuners get the same engine. Oh, this is really heavy. Which is a 4-cylinder 2.8 litre turbo diesel that's mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission and outputs 150 kilowatts and 500 newton meters of torque. Although the Fortuner is based on the Hilux, its interior is actually quite different. So we have a good combination of fairly durable, hard-wearing materials that are easy to clean. So that means a bit of hard plastic up on top here, a bit of artificial leather, but this particular car has been optioned with leather accented seats, which are a little bit nice. They've got some nice stitching on there too. The center console screen is 8 inches. It runs the older Toyota software, which is not very good to be honest, but it does everything you need it to do. It has native navigation, plus a wired Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The screen picture itself is just a little bit on the low resolution side, and you do notice that when you put the reversing camera on. Top spec Fortuners get a premium 11-speaker JBL sound system. This mid-spec GXL, however, has an unbranded 6-speaker sound system, and the less said about that, the better. Moving down, we've got climate controls, a few buttons there. It kind of looks like a car stereo from the 80s that's been kind of bolted in there separately, but it's really easy to use. Drivetrain controls underneath that with hill descent control and also the controls for the 4-wheel drive system, giving you high 2-wheel drive, high 4-wheel drive and low 4-wheel drive. The lower console, a lot of piano black. We've got a couple of cup holders here under a panel. Space to store your phone, but no wireless phone charging. A big old school handbrake here that's very satisfying to use. Love that noise. And the drive mode controls Eco, Normal, Sport, plus the diff lock button here. Little console bin there, not too big. And in front of the driver is a hybrid analog digital instrument cluster, which is pretty basic and straightforward. You can cycle through a few different displays on the center screen. I like having the speed on there personally. The steering wheel in this GXL model gets a wood accent up the top here that actually feels really nice. I thought it was plastic at first, to be honest, but then on closer inspection you can actually see the wood grain, and it's a nice touch. Leather wrapped with stitching, controls really easy to use. Cruise controls are over here on the right-hand side. There's a little surprise cup holder here too that pops out of the just next to the door here. There's another one on the passenger side too, and with the other 2 cup holders, that gives you 4 cup holders up here at the front, which is good. The seats, as I mentioned before, are leather accented. They're fairly comfortable, good driving position, plenty of headroom. The front two seats are power adjustable, however the seats are not heated. You've got to step up a model for that. And visibility all round is pretty excellent actually, right to the front corners of the bonnet. Good rear vision mirror, although I mean we're riding up high, so not a lot of visibility from that. Wing mirrors are nice and big, and we've got blind spot monitors in there too. As I've noticed in a few of these ladder frame SUVs, the rear seats do seem to be sitting up a little bit higher than the front seats. So we are kind of looking down on the front passengers. In terms of knee room, a little bit tight for me. I'm 190 centimeters behind my own seating position, and I'm just grazing the seat in front, but more problematic is the lack of headroom with my hair really getting stuck into the ceiling there. There is a bit of an indent here, but it's still perhaps not quite enough. One thing that is really nice though is the head level air vents, which means you can blow nice cold air onto your face. There's no USB charging back here, which might upset your kids, just a bit of a warning. And in terms of space, well, we've got room for 3 here quite comfortably. 3 kids anyway. 3 adults might be a bit of a squash. Armrest with a pop-out mechanical cup holder. And just like in the front, we've also got this lovely rubbery wipe-down material here, which is easy to clean, but yeah, doesn't really feel particularly premium. But it's more practical than anything else, which is what you can sort of say about all of this car. It's not USB, is it? No. Is it? No. Third row seating is certainly not for tall adults. But that wasn't too hard to get into. Now let's just put this down and put this up. Yeah, this is pretty tight. Look, it's actually not knee room that's the main issue here, it's head room. My head hard up against the ceiling. I can't actually sit up straight in here at all. A couple of air vents on the ceiling. That's nice, but in terms of backseat amenities, no, there's really nothing going on here at all. So unless you're a small child, don't think about the backseat. So first of all, apologies if you came to this review looking for some serious off-road action, because that's not going to be what you're going to see in this review. I live in an inner suburb of Australia's largest city. There's not a lot of places to do that nearby, and I make these reviews pretty much on my own. I do have a bit of help sometimes, but it's logistically quite tricky to do off-road driving for me. Anyway, so instead I'm going to show you what this car is like to drive around the urban jungle here in the suburbs. So as someone whose favourite type of car is a 2-door coupe, the Fortuner is almost the exact opposite of what I personally like to drive. It isn't very dynamic, and it's kind of noisy, and on corners I get a little bit worried that it's going to tip over. It's not, of course, but it rolls a lot, and it's a little disconcerting. But in the plus column, I really enjoy the high driving position actually. You get such a good view of everything that's going on around you. I totally get the appeal of driving a car like this in the city. Like all new Toyotas, we've got the Toyota Safety Suite in this car, which includes blind spot monitors, lane departure with brake to steer, which I don't really like. I've actually turned it off because normally in most cars when you have a lane departure avoidance, it will sort of gently turn the steering wheel to bring you back into the lane. And once you're used to that, it's fine. It's not a big deal. And yeah, you know, it's a fairly easy thing to use. This car, however, uses brake to steer, where it will actually slow down the turn of one of the wheels, causing you to turn the car. And it is a horrible sensation. It feels like you're skidding on ice a little bit, and it's very disconcerting. So yeah, I've switched it off. There's a couple of buttons down here on my right-hand side which I wasn't sure about what they do, and I'll get to that in just a moment, but have a look at this. I just went through the glove compartment to look up what these buttons do. This is the instruction manual just for the center console screen. How big is that? Believe me, the system is not that complicated. It doesn't need a book that thick. Anyway, the buttons down here, one is for the diesel particle filter operation, if you need to clean the diesel fuel particle cleaner thing. And the other one is the idle up button, which warms the engine's coolant, which in cold weather can help keep the interior of the car warm. In Australia, maybe we'd only need that in very cold climates for a couple of months a year. But all up, the driving experience, it's just, I don't know, it's just not relaxing. It feels sort of labor intensive driving this car. And, you know, maybe if I had it a bit longer, I'd relax into it a little bit, but I just feel like I'm constantly on alert. I like the twin glove boxes here, one on top, one on the bottom. Plenty of storage space here in front of the front passenger. Turning on the cruise control is a little bit fiddly. We've got this stalk here just hanging off the steering wheel, and I've been kind of mashing the buttons and moving the stalk up and down trying to get it to work. It's adaptive cruise control, so it's watching what the car in front of me is doing, who is an L-plater right now in a Tesla Model 3, so who knows what's going to happen. But out here on the freeway in bumper-to-bumper traffic, it does allow you to relax a little bit, not having to have your foot constantly hanging over the accelerator and the brake. Is the Toyota Fortuner a turnback car? It's a good-looking four-wheel drive. It's not particularly distinctive. It looks very much like a Toyota as you'd expect it would, sort of a cross between the RAV4 and a Land Cruiser. I don't think it's particularly distinctive. I don't think it's really a turnback car. To be honest, you do feel quite powerful driving one of these, and it's not just the tractor diesel engine type noise that you hear coming from the front, but it's the size, the bigness of it all. And this is only a mid-sizer. I can only imagine what it would be like to drive a Land Cruiser. Well, actually, I'm going to find out in the next few weeks. Or one of those big new Ram Utes that you see out there on the road. I get why people like these cars. On paper, ladder frame SUVs like the Fortuner are the ultimate solution for families who enjoy going off-road on the weekends and need sensible family transport during the week. And this car does the off-road bit fantastically well. The around town stuff, not so great. To be honest, I find it just a little bit of a chore to drive. So if you're looking for sensible family transport and you don't go off-road that often, I'd think about maybe going for something just a little bit softer.